welcome back to the Steven's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making my favorite cookies ever. We're going to be making my butterscotch oatmeal cookies. I've never shared this recipe with anybody. My own sister asked me for it and I sent her another random recipe on the internet because I didn't want to give her mine, but I'm going to share it with you guys and let's just hope she doesn't see it. So I'm going to run you guys through the ingredients and we'll get started. Alright, so the things that you're going to need for these is a little bit of all-purpose flour, some baking soda, cinnamon, some salt. You're going to need a ton of oats. I'm using quick cooking oats because that's what I have on hand. That's just what I always use. If you have old-fashioned oats, you can use those as well. The only oats that I wouldn't recommend using for this would be sealed cut oats because they're just cut way too fine. You're going to need 2 sticks of salted butter. You're going to need a combination of light or dark brown sugar with some regular granulated sugar, 2 eggs, tons of butterscotch chips, any brand, some vanilla extract, and the key ingredient, some dark molasses. Alright, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to get our softened salted butter. I'm going to be using my KitchenAid with a paddle attachment. As always, you can just do this in a bowl with a whisk and a wooden spoon, and it would come out the exact same way. I'm just being a little lazy tonight, so I'm going to use this. So I'm going to throw in my butter and both of my sugars. And now I'm just going to cream these together on a low speed until they get incorporated, and I will show you guys what that looks like. Alright, so that looks good. So now I'm just going to add in both of my eggs. And I'm going to turn back on my mixer. And now while at this stage, I'm going to add in my vanilla extract, just about a teaspoon or so. Okay, so if you have never worked with molasses before, then I highly recommend that you measure this out before you do it because you can make your batter go from delicious to absolutely disgusting with the slightest amount more. If you use too much of this, you can ruin a batter, is what I'm trying to say. So for this, I'm just going to add in my 1 tablespoon. All right, and I'm going to incorporate these now. Now this is honestly the most important ingredient of the recipe. Not only does it change the flavor and give you a nice deep caramel flavor, but it also gives you a really chewy cookie. So I only make this recipe using molasses. This looks perfect. Let's move on to our next step. Alright, so I'm just going to take my flour, baking soda, salt, and cinnamon, just give it a little pre-mixing before I throw it into my mixer. So now with my flour mixture, I am just going to throw it all on in to my mixing bowl. And on low speed, I'm going to incorporate this just until it is all combined, no more, because you do not want a dense cookie. Alright, so right before I'm done mixing, all I'm going to do is with my spatula, I'm going to go and I'm going to clean down the sides of my bowl just to make sure that we are getting every little bit of the flour, because with baking, it is very much so a science, so you want to make sure that you're getting in all of the ingredients. Alright, and now we'll just mix it for another couple seconds, and there we go, that looks perfect. So now, I'm going to be adding in half of my oats at a time. So I'm just going to throw in about half, put the others aside, and slowly incorporate these. That looks good already. So now I'm going to add in the other half. You just don't want to really overcrowd your mixer. Perfect. Now we're going to clean down the sides of our bowl one more time before we incorporate the butterscotch chips, because you just want to make sure that everything, I'm actually going to take this off and I'm going to stir from the bottom because sometimes with a stand mixer some dry ingredients get left behind. So that looks perfect. I'm just going to take all of my butterscotch chips, a whole bag of butterscotch chips, throw that into my mixing bowl and put it back in the mixer just until incorporated. You don't want to overmix this because you don't want the chips to start breaking up. You want to keep them whole. And that looks perfect. Alright. right, so I'm just gonna clean off my paddle attachment. I didn't mention it before, but you're going to need your oven preheating to 350 degrees, and you're also going to need a couple of cookie sheets. To be honest, I use one and I just do this in batches because this makes so many cookies. I normally bake half now, form the rest into balls, and throw it in the fridge, and you'll have fresh cookies within 10 minutes for like the next 2 weeks. So, all right, my batter looks perfect. This is exactly what you want to see. And it's going to be a little bit sticky, but that is totally okay. All right, so we're almost done with this. I'm just going to be using a spoon, and I'm going to be taking 2 tablespoons of batter with some clean hands. You're just going to roll them into balls, and you're going to want to keep them about 2 inches apart. And I am using a parchment paper lined baking sheet just because it makes cleaning up so much easier. So I'm just going to take my time and roll these out. When I'm done rolling out enough cookies for us to enjoy tonight, I'm going to roll up the rest and throw them in the fridge like I said. So I'm just going to roll these out, and I will show you guys when I'm all done. All right, so I have all my cookies rolled out. The remaining dough is in the fridge. I'm going to bake those off at some point this weekend. So now these are going to go in 350 degrees for about 10 to 13 minutes. And I'm going to show you guys the last and final step before we eat these that is super crucial to these cookies. So I will see you guys in 10 to 13 minutes. Okay, so my cookies baked for 13 minutes exactly, and the pan is still really hot, so I'm wearing my gloves. But the most important thing with these cookies is right when they get out of the oven, you want to get your pan, and you want to slam it down on your countertop or on top of your oven, just like this. The reason why I do this is because when the cookies come out, they're a little bit puffed up, and as cookies settle, they will sort of flatten a little bit, but when you bang it, it does something, and it makes them get nice and flat, which is what I like. So you will have a super chewy inside and a crisp outside. So you can see that they kind of merge together a little bit, a couple of them, but these look absolutely perfect. So I will see you guys in a few minutes. Once these cool, you want to leave them on your baking sheet for about 15 minutes because they're going to continue baking. They're going to get nice and crisp around the edges. So we will do a taste test when these are done. And now they are perfect. Look at how nice and thin they are. Cookies, very nice and crisp around the edges on the cookie sheet. Give this a taste because I can't wait anymore. My all-time favorite cookie. And you guys saw how easy they were. You probably have all the ingredients on hand besides the molasses. Make them. As always, I will throw the recipe down in the description box below. And if you have any questions, comment down below and I'll get back to you. So until my next video, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.